of this horse, and he was on this hill, okay, and this was the sky that was there um, in the background, I think. I'd have to look this one up. But anyways, I just had this up there, so I thought I could show you. I think I had the layered file somewhere, but I don't know. This was when I was starting, and when I was starting, I was not necessarily keeping everything in layers. So I also had this picture of this statue in New York City, down near 25th Street and Madison, I think, if I get that right. I've been out in New York for so long, I forget sometimes. But this was a statue there, and I shot the statue from behind because he was framing some buildings, which of course were not there. But I thought, this is so interesting. It's a pen, he's illustrating. So I copied this out. I selected this, right, from the original and pasted it in here. Now, notice this is in the foreground and it's out of focus, which makes perfect sense because it's closer to the camera. Got it? But things that are far away, let's say maybe this would be a 70 millimeter lens, not a 50, maybe a 70 or 80 or 180. Even though this is in the way, still has some realism. Everything else should be kind of sharp too in the back. So I took these from stock imagery of the Washington Monument, the obelisks, which were originally designed in Africa and Asia, and I pasted these in here. Okay, so I gave an element here, an element here, element here, element here, and then I had some things moving. So we have blimps. Now this blimp worked out really well because it looks like it actually has motion because it's a little bit of motion blur. Again, this is in the background, so this can be sharp. Now, if you look carefully, try to pay attention, every element in this picture maintains lighting. Lighting is coming down from behind this area and lights up this blimp from here. Same light coming down here on this side, okay, and on the horse, almost straight down, but also coming across his side. We can't see it, but you can tell by light coming through here, light coming from here. And of course, when you look at the obelisks, where's the light falling? Coming down from here, coming down from here. The mountains, same thing. See the shadows in the mountains coming off of here? This is lighting coming down from the mountains. The clouds, I don't know. I think I shot that as a separate cloud picture because those clouds are actually too big. I don't like them. But anyways, that was in 1998 or 99 that I did that. Oh my God. It's over 12 years ago or something. Wow. So we have the lighting here. So it's all consistent. It's all consistent. And this is something that we want to think about when we're retouching pictures. And the grain, of course, is not something we can really understand looking at this picture. But sometimes if in sharpness as well, element of focus. Element of focus can be modified. That can be modified. So, and we see that in pictures where, you see blur, and the picture originally was sharp and they blur it. So if I blur one image here, and the other one is sharp, that gives it an element of focus. So when I'm retouching pictures, assembling pictures, manipulating pictures, we want to maintain element of focus so it's believable, even if you're doing an illustration. If you maintain that element of focus, it will be more appealing to the eye. As human beings, we are wired to distinguish between truth and falsehood. So, I mean, you don't need to be told that something isn't right, generally. You kind of know it, and you see it. And in many cases, when we're looking at an image that's been falsified, there's something in it that just tells us there's something not right about this picture. Even if it's been put in a bunch of filters and weird effects, you see it. You may say it's a beautiful image, but you know something ain't right about it. So when you're retouching, you need to keep that in mind. You need to keep in mind that the people who are going to buy the product, people who are going to look at it, they don't want to be tricked. You know, I wish I still had it, but I had this great little catalog by an amateur radio equipment catalog from a little company. Oh, I forgot their name, but maybe I wouldn't want to mention it. But they had, it's so hard to explain without showing you, but they were selling CB radios in here. I think they were just a CB radio. They were just a radio equipment. They had scanners, CBs, amateur radio, and they had two CBs next to each other. Maybe someone who's watching this knows what I'm talking about. They could post the the name of it. I don't remember. But they had two CBs next to each other, and they said, okay, this is ours, and this is the competition's, you know. Actually, I think it was a mods. They were doing modifications. Illegal, you know. And, you know, a friend of mine said, hey, can't you see that, you know, they've cut and pasted that? I mean, you're a photographer, you should know. I said, oh, my God, look at that. And you can tell they cut out the same picture and pasted it in there. It just was so sloppy, you know. And it was unconvincing. There was just no way people were going to fully believe that, you know. And that's one of the other, you know, lessons that I'd like to share with my students. And, you know, there is also, when you're photographing things for documentary purposes, you know, you have an obligation not to modify that picture. You know, even removing light poles and wires and removing people. I mean, be careful. If you want to do that, just have that one as a copy. Have that one as like version 2, you know, modified. And if you're going to sell it as editorial content, as something that a newspaper or a news organization, I don't know, newspapers are kind of disappearing, but you know, anything that's publishing news, you know, you got to be ethical. Don't send them something you've worked up, you know, added more smoke to it, or you know, cleaned up the tanks or something like, you know, put it out for what it is. You know, we've got to be honest, and with the world of technology before us, we must. It is obligatory to be accountable for our images. I have greatly appreciated being with you this evening, and we hope that our next show will be at the same time, the same place. Keep tuning in at our live stream channel. You can actually click a remind me button when you see the next show's date, which as soon as I'm done with this show, I put the next week on there. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, get a Facebook page, look up Grafix, email me, whatever, put you on my email list so you can get reminders. And that'll about do it. Good luck to you and any work that you do. Please, if you enjoy this program, support it by purchasing my course. And when you're done with the course, pass it on to another friend or family. It's an excellent, excellent course, especially for beginners or those who have experience but really aren't too confident about what they know in Photoshop.
What makes a good scan?
What is a selection?
What are layers?
What is resolution?
What is a JPEG?
What is TIFF?
What is RGB?
How do I crop a picture?
What is a zoom tool?
What is a clone stamp?
What are levels?
My name is Eric Basir, and I have produced this unique photo restoration and retouching foundations video course to answer all these questions and more. In my classes and workshops, I have taught hundreds how to preserve and restore their personal photographic collections with Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Photoshop Elements. Now you can have me as your personal instructor in this 10-lesson course. After studying the videos and easy-to-read workbook, you'll finish with a firm foundation of how to use Adobe Photoshop or any other photo editing program confidently and correctly.